Hi there and welcome. This is Roger V, founder of SwiftCloud, and in this quick video we're going to look at the CRM detail page. It is arguably the most powerful page in the entire CRM. It's about a specific potential sale. I'm going to walk you through each part of it, and in doing so we're also going to talk about some sales concepts. My goal is with this training video that you're going to learn how to use this page, but along the way you're also going to learn some basics of CRM, which is client relationship management. So anyway, this is me speaking. This is a real estate deal for myself as an example. First, let's dive into CRM. What is CRM? Client or customer relationship management. And really what it is, you're tracking potential sales. Now it's important to touch on, in Swift CRM, we separate contacts from sales, and we do that on purpose. Here's why. In the case of, let's say, real estate, you might be selling to a husband and a wife. There might be elderly parents. There's often multiple parties involved. And then when you get further into the deal and you have an actual transaction on the table, this whole additional people involved, you've got all sorts of people. You've got a photographer, you've got inspectors, you've got transaction coordinators, you've got lenders, appraisers. You can add a lot of people to the transaction along with a specific role. And based on that role, then even allow automation. I'll show you how to set up the automation. But let's first focus on just the basics. You've either got somebody who has raised their hand, in a sense, and said that they're interested, right? Maybe they're open to buying a house. Even let's say in the case of real estate, they're open to buying a house, but it is 3 years away. That's okay. Put them into the CRM and incubate them. That's okay. But you wouldn't want to do that with all, let's say, 3,000 people on your list. It's not the job of a CRM is for tracking potential sales, not for marketing. If you want to get more formal about it, there's two types of qualified leads. You have marketing qualified leads and sales qualified leads. We can help you make that handoff automatically based on activity. So when is the handoff from marketing qualified lead to sales lead, and then a sales qualified lead, and then you have sales team, and if you've even got a large sales team, you can have somebody who's doing low-level qualification, and then you have somebody who's further up the chain, a higher value expert who just focuses on closing. So one of the ways we can help sales teams grow their net sales is by having your superstar do really just nothing but closing, which is fantastic and a high value activity, and then you've got some lower level sort of up-and-comers handling things like basic qualification. Are you able to make a buying decision? Do you actually have the funds? Those sorts of things. Now the handoff can go one of several ways. This is when data moves from Swift Marketing into Swift CRM. First is that the client verbally expresses interest. In the case of real estate, that's going to be the most common. This is a little more advanced, and we are just now getting into that. By the time you see this video, this may be working. It'll be part of the SwiftCloud plugin eventually, and possibly by the time you see this video, that it will score online behavior. For example, if you just capture an initial lead, and then let's say they click on several different newsletters, let's say they spend time on your website, let's say they visit a webinar, you can tie certain behaviors and say, okay, escalate this lead from marketing to the CRM totally automatically. And last, of course, advanced input form. So Swift CRM can be tied to Swift Form, and if you've got a form, in the case of, let's say for real estate, you have a lead capture that just captures their email, and at that point they're just a marketing lead. They're not really a sales lead. But let's say they fill out a form called "What is my home worth?" and they give you a bunch of information, like here's my phone number, here's my property, here's my address, here's the property condition. Let's say it's a more advanced form. At that point, that becomes a CRM deal because that person has sort of raised their hand and said, hey, I'm a real sales lead that you should focus on. And so the advanced input form could automatically move that contact from just your marketing list into your CRM. So let's get back to the actual sales page. All applications of SwiftCloud, no matter what it is, and you can access the different applications up here, and we have additional ones that are in beta, Swift Staff, for example, Swift Insight, things like that. And as we grow, they'll be up here. All you have to do is mouse over the logo. On any page, anywhere in the application, if you click this question mark, it's going to open a help file about that page specifically. At any given moment, you can just click on this, help with this specific page, or here, these both do the same thing. These are your speed links to different applications, by the way. So all your contacts, for example, are right here on the side, calendar, that sort of thing. first, the basics. If you just learn one thing from this video, this is it right here, and maybe this. So everything's going to start off as new, make contact, right? So if you have a lead that brought into the system, now leads can come into the system via form input, so we can tie so SwiftForm can allow you to tie any website to Swift Marketing and or SwiftCRM. Completely hands-free. The data just flows in and it can kick off an autoresponder and do everything you want. So that's option one, is form input. Two is manual input. You can simply go to this list. This is my this is one of my real pipelines, so I'm covering up some of the phone data here. But you just go up here to add new selling opportunity, and you can select, is this a company or is this a person? You just start typing. It's going to look through your address book and try and find, in this case, we've got multiple inputs. This is me testing, right? So I'm in here a lot of times, but you just simply select the one you want, or if it's a new contact, just click that plus and just put in their name, right? And over time, we are totally hands-free fishing out information such as a reverse phone lookup. So that's why we get this basic information on step one, is because if we can do a reverse phone lookup on the contact number, then we will. And same thing with the email. Sometimes we can automatically append photos and profiles and that sort of information. Then you just type in what sort of deal is this. In this case, let's say it's a real estate listing, something like that. And it'll create the opportunity. So that's method number two, is simply manual input. Method number three is CSV. Method number four is API. If you have some other application that you want to talk to our system, then we can hook that up for you. Up here is the super status, and basically every potential sale only has a few basic statuses, and then it has sub statuses of that. So we call this the super status. Everything starts off as make contact, then the person is maybe, is it a match, can they actually afford it, are they qualified, do they own the house, do they, whatever it is. Yes, they're verbally committed. Maybe they haven't signed the contract, but they're actually verbally committed and you think that there's a deal. This isn't necessarily the deal's all done, but it sounds like they're in process, and now you're just starting to deal with things like paperwork and that sort of thing. One is once it's an actual committed transaction. You've got either money on the table or you've got a signed contract, whatever it is for you and your industry. Ongoing account, if you're in, let's say, packaging, manufacturing, where you continue to handle an ongoing account, that's where this would be. Or it might be something like even dental, right? If you've got an ongoing patient that you handle, that you see every 6 months, that would be here. Incubate is maybe later. This is basically short-term incubation. If it's going to be long-term, you'd probably do well to just kill the deal and push them back over to marketing, and marketing can incubate them with a more efficient sequence. You just won't clutter up your pipeline. Lost is, of course, if you actually just lose the deal. They're disqualified, or, well, lost would be, in this case, listing expired, withdrawn. Let's say the client just decided they don't want to sell anymore, something like that. Closed successful, this is archive. Closed unsuccessful, archive. And then we also add trash to this. Trash, we'll keep it for 30 days and then discard the deal right after that. And you can just set the super status to trash, and that'll make it disappear out of your pipeline. But you'll still have a backup for 30 days, and that way the manager can see what's going on. If you're the company owner, that way you can see if somebody trashes it. We do that on purpose so that you can make sure somebody's not discarding perfectly good leads or leads that might be able to be rescued. Within each type, you'll see a bunch of sub-statuses, right? So everything starts off as new contacted. If you've got web forms, it could be something like captured online. Every single status is automatable, and that shows up over here under Settings, Automation. And what you do is basically go here, and we'll just click Add New, and let's call this, Did You Get the Contract? And if, let's say, we sell my house realty, we change this to, let's say, listing. So notice that this is a subset of this, right? If I change this to Swift Cloud, okay, I could sell Swift Cloud services. If I change this to sell my house realty, the system does support multiple deal types and even multiple industries. So if you're in, let's say, 2 different companies that you work with that are sort of related most of the time, then they can exist side by side just perfectly. Better than anybody else, frankly. So we change this to, let's say, listing, and then we can say is changed to make contact. Let's say, well, in this case, did you get the contract? That's, let's say, 1, and let's say counteroffer sent, right? Multiple counteroffers sent. So as soon as that happens, we could send an email to the client. We specify which roles do we want, and we say something like, we just select one of these variables. I don't want to get too far off into a rabbit hole, but you get the idea. Basically, you can set up automation, and if I wanted to put a delay to it, which is really useful for things like, did you get the contract? We haven't heard back. Let's say I just change this to has been for 7 days. And if the deal is still in this status for more than 7 days, then it will go out. However, if the deal has moved into some other status within that 7 days, before that 7 days is up, this message would never go out. And so that's very useful for automating your follow-up. It can get a little complicated to handle mentally, but once you automate your workflow, you'll get really consistent performance. This short summary here is really just for you, and you can put in whatever you want. It's just a general summary. If you click this edit icon, it will open the contact, in this case me as an example. Now, as I mentioned, we separate the selling opportunity from the human for a couple of reasons. One is let's say that in the case of real estate, a single human might be selling a house and buying a house from you. You have got two possible transactions. In the first one, let's say they decide to rent it and they decide not to list it. Well, that doesn't affect the second one if they're still moving. Second, sometimes there's multiple humans involved. So those multiple humans all go into this green box, and you just simply add them here. And you can also use that to reassign this to a different sales rep if you want to. You can assign this so you can add another person inside your company. And you can also change the primary contact. So let's say that you opened a transaction and you have a contact at a company, and then later you found out that they're not the real decision maker. You need to work with somebody else. So you can go down here, add a new contact, and replace them. And here in the roles, we'll add, by the time you see this, it'll be at the top, new primary contact. And what it will do is replace this person. For example, if the wife is the decision maker, or you're dealing with elderly parents, but somebody's got power of attorney, something like that. Next, let's cover the colored boxes. The orange boxes are status aware. This is all this whole box is based on the status. So if I call them and they say let's say I left a voicemail, it's going to increment this each time. So that way you can come back to the page and say, hey, I've tried to reach him 5 times and I'm just not getting anywhere. Maybe I need to drop him a snail mail or try some other approach, whatever the case is. Anyway, if you go here and continue to change this, and as soon as you hit save, that's going to increment this number, right? So mail me requested. It's going to call attempt. This blue box is completely customizable to whatever industry you're in, and for many industries we've got this customized already for you. So obviously in this case it's all about real estate listings. It's asking me what's the property value, who's the decision maker, what's the property condition. We can even do conditional fields here, so yes, no, a bunch of fields appear if something is yes, and if it's no, then we show some other fields. We can do some fairly sophisticated logic if needed here. And our real goal is really to give you a client intake sheet. What I mean there is, what information do you need to store about a lead to make the sale? That's what information we want here, that's in addition to the contact info, separated from the humans. All the humans involved, I keep specifying that because it could be companies involved, right? You could be selling an entity, in which case the company might be up here, but you're still going to have some humans involved because ultimately it's obviously human decision makers. So even if you're selling a company, it shows here, you would still have humans involved down here in this green box. Comments is pretty straightforward. We're just now hooking up email threading. What that means is email piping, is that you can email any of the parties involved in this transaction from within this box, and you just simply choose. You'll see a little button right here, and you can choose to either just leave a comment, or you can set it to message, in which case then it'll email pipe back and forth. If either party responds, but they don't even use the CRM, it's still going to appear in here. What we're doing is we're just acting as sort of a traffic cop in the middle and modifying the reply to address. So this is incredibly powerful, because if you respond to an email on the go, we want that, if it's in reference to this transaction, we want it to appear in this transaction log. As you can see, everything is time date stamped. It also shows you who made the comment. So if you've got multiple salespeople, or you have a secretary, or who knows, a manager that goes in and makes comments on a specific deal, then you want to be able to see who was it that actually made this. The selling opportunity box here on the purple section, this is, let's say it's a $12,500 potential listing. Client desire, more space. Likelihood of closing, that's just gut sense for now. We may do automated scoring down the road, but right now, let's say I just set it to 61%. How did you win this client? In this case, let's say it was a referral by Bruce Mack, we'll say. Created by, this is important because if you may get into situations where the manager creates the opportunity and then assigns it to a salesperson, you want to be able to track that. You may have people, sales reps that are going on vacation. Whatever the case is, it's whoever input it. In the case of web forms, it'll say which, you'll see some meta information here as to what web form captured that and sort of what it was credited to. So we do have the ability to track, was this an SEO lead, a PPC lead? You can put that type of tracking into your advertising, and that's incredibly important for offline sales because you want to be able to see what advertising is working and yielding actual sales and actual results and thus gauge your profitability. But if you're in offline sales, all this gets into something called cohort analysis, but the net result is you need to be able to track this. So if it came via an affiliate and you want to be able to track, how many other deals did Bruce Mack refer to me, because maybe I want to give him a cruise, or maybe he's my top affiliate, or maybe I need to take care of him, or maybe if he's owed money or whatever the case is. Files and documents, here you can upload files, and we are working on labels for not just the file, but also you can tag them. This is being still worked on as of this video, although by the time you see this, it'll probably be working. And you can put unlimited files, and you can also put documents. So this is going to evolve into a more advanced proposal system where we're tracking views. And did somebody actually see the proposal? How long did they spend on it? Is it password protected? Those are the types of things you'll be able to do from here. For now, you can just attach PDFs internally, and you can also create documents, which are online documents. Those could be contracts or things you want to mail. Opportunity events calendar. In the case of real estate, you've got a lot of events that happen. Those are typically release of contingencies, right? So you've got appraisal contingency release date, you've got inspection release date. Whatever events you think are related to this sale, that's no problem. It could be an on-site visit if that's your industry, whatever the case is. Down here in the history and accounting financials, same thing. This is actually tied to SwiftBooks, so SwiftBooks is right over here. You will be able to link both corporate income and your personal income, and those are two separate things. So let's just say hypothetically that you're at a real estate office and you are going to generate a $12,500 commission for a transaction. Well, you've got the house split, and then you've also got other transaction expenses. Let's say you're paying a transaction coordinator, you've got errors and emission insurance and stuff like that. All of that could be in here, and you can track everything, including your personal income separate from the corporate income. So the company, technically you're creating a credit to the company and then a debit from the company to you personally for your own paycheck. All of the history is always down here, and this cannot be modified. So this is important for managers and owners especially to look at a chain of events and see what was done with the file. Is somebody actually working on it? Left voicemail, you can see the status change. I changed the left voicemail to wrong number. And you can see, of course, time, date stamps on everything. That pretty much covers it. This delete selling opportunity is going to be gone by the time you see this. It'll be moved up in here to the trash, and we'll do that to protect your transactions for 90 days. I'm sorry, it's not 30 days, it's 90 days. After 90 days, we'll clear them out, but you've got 90 days to rescue them. You could put them into incubation if you need to, but if they're truly dead, don't clutter up your pipeline, because that's you want to keep things clean and fast performing. So just throw it in the trash, and then you'll have 90 days to rescue it if things change. I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, by all means, leave us a comment on the help files, and we will update this media. Thanks.